As of now, 11 people have been reported injured and 2 killed.
We are ready for such negotiations in any format, in any geography, in order to achieve a just peace. Amid ongoing tensions between Ukraine and Russia, with no signs of de-escalation, diplomatic efforts continue to be promoted from multiple sides. On July 16, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andrei Sybiha declared that Ukraine is ready for further peace talks with Russia, though no specific timeline was given. Speaking during a visit to Lublin, Poland, Sybiha once again reiterated Ukraine's call for a meeting between the leaders of Russia and Ukraine, emphasizing that this would be the most effective step toward achieving a ceasefire.
Dzień dobry.
Разом ми сильніші, разом єстешми сильніші.
It would be good if other leaders, primarily President Trump, our European colleagues, President Erdogan, participated in this meeting. And we believe that such a meeting can bring about a qualitative change in achieving, first of all, a ceasefire on land, at sea, in the air, a long-term ceasefire which will open the way for further, broader negotiations with the Russian side. We are ready for such negotiations in any format, in any geography, in order to achieve a just peace.
З російською стороною ми готові до таких перемовин в будь-якому форматі, в будь-якій географії задля досягнення справедливого миру.
First is that Ukraine already 4 months ago agreed to the unconditional ceasefire. And now it's up to Putin to take these conditions, what President Trump is telling him to do. Already 4 months, and we're still waiting for them. So it's not on Ukraine's side, that's on the Russia side.
Домівки для українців, переважно для жінок та дітей. Люблін.
Polish investments, the Barlinik plant, also suffered. The Russians want to scare away foreign investors, but the Poles are with us and are ready to invest in Ukraine even in conditions of unprecedented risks. We appreciate this and hope for the active role and participation of Polish business in our reconstruction.
A więc mamy historyczną pamięć o przeszłości, która była i wielka.
As for the attack on the Polish company, and also another international company in Venetia, possibly with American capital, Barlinek has already issued a statement. Polish companies are suffering from the same thing as Ukrainian companies from Russian aggression.
This is the main condition for people next to air defense and the others to remain where.
Yesterday, we really hoped that an agreement would be reached on the 18th package of sanctions, and we hope that it will be done at the most appropriate time, because we see that this is a very necessary measure. We will not stop there. We will continue to coordinate with our partners in the US and start working on the next package of sanctions ourselves, and we will move forward in this way until this machine stops working.
On the Russian side, Moscow has so far remained steadfast in its stance on the conflict in Ukraine, supporting a diplomatic solution and expressing readiness to negotiate, but only on the condition that it achieves its stated objectives. According to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Russia has never pursued policies that would harm its national interests or security. The top Russian diplomat also recently noted that Russia wants to gain a clearer understanding of the 50-day deadline set by U.S. President Donald Trump for reaching an agreement with Ukraine. In a separate development, diplomatic tensions escalated after U.S. President proposed a 50-day ultimatum for peace negotiations, accompanied by a threat of strict tariffs if the talks failed to materialize. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov immediately rejected what he called unacceptable demands, though he reiterated that Russia remains open to negotiations. Subsequently, President Trump appeared to walk back his remarks, stating that Ukraine should not target Moscow and that the U.S. would not supply long-range missiles, contradicting earlier reports suggesting he had encouraged Ukraine to strike deeper into Russian territory. At the close of the July 15 session, the European Union, EU, failed to pass a new round of sanctions against Russia as the move was blocked by Slovakia over concerns related to energy security. The discussion was postponed to the following day due to ongoing disagreements among member states. Updating the developments of the conflict, according to the Russian Ministry of Defense's daily briefing, their forces struck Ukrainian positions in the Sumy, Kharkiv, and Donetsk regions over the past 24 hours, destroying several electronic warfare stations, radar systems, and ammunition depots. Russian air defense units intercepted 7 Ukrainian guided bombs, 1 HIMARS missile, and 103 fixed-wing drones during the same period, the ministry stated. On April 16, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported in a combat update that their forces had struck 11 concentrations of Russian troops and equipment over the past 24 hours. The Ukrainian Air Force reported shooting down 178 out of 267 drones launched by Russia. Speaking in his nightly video address, President Volodymyr Zelensky called the attack Russia's horrifying and senseless act of terror. According to him, there is no military logic behind their strikes, only a deliberate attempt to take as many lives as possible.
Rescue operations are currently underway in Dobropilya, Donetsk region, following a Russian bomb strike directly on the city, on an ordinary shop in ordinary trade pavilions. There is still no precise information on the number of casualties. As of now, 11 people have been reported injured and 2 killed. My condolences to their relatives. All relevant services are involved and doing their best to save as many people as possible. This is simply horrific, stupid Russian terror. There is no military logic to their strikes, only an effort to take as many lives as possible. The entirety of today's Russia is reflected in these vile attacks. We will respond. We are working with our partners to force Russia to end this war, and we must also strengthen our own capabilities toward this goal. That is our current focus. The task is very clear and specific. Currently, Ukrainian-made weaponry make up about 40% of those used at the front and in our operations. This is already significantly more than at any time in our country's independence. The production volumes are truly large, but we need more. And we especially need greater capabilities to push the war back into Russian territory to where it started, so that they feel what they've done and the price of Putin's refusal to cease fire and pursue true peace. Our goal is to reach 50% Ukrainian-made weaponry within the first 6 months of the new government by expanding our domestic production. I am confident this is achievable, though not easy.
Dobropilya lies to the northwest of Pokrovsk, a hotspot in recent months as Russian forces slowly advance westward through the Donetsk region. A previous attack on Dobropilya in March, involving missiles, rockets, and drones, left 11 people dead. This week, President Zelensky carried out a political reshuffle, nominating Yulia Sviridenko, who previously played a key role in a minerals agreement with the United States, as the new prime minister. Current Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal was nominated to become the new Minister of Defense. These nominations, which require parliamentary approval, come as diplomatic efforts to end the war with Russia, now in its 4th year, have stalled, and Ukraine seeks to revive its cash-strapped economy and build a domestic arms industry. Amid conflicting statements and complex developments on the ground, Ukraine is striving to maintain the initiative both at the negotiating table and on the battlefield. Efforts to boost domestic arms production, rebuild the economy, and rally support from allies are being pursued in parallel to strengthen internal resilience. Meanwhile, the parties involved continue to follow their own strategies, making the path to peace more fragile than ever. Nevertheless, recent statements from Kyiv indicate that Ukraine is still keeping the door open to dialogue, with one unchanged goal: achieving a just and lasting peace.